My name is Raina Simone, and you're listening to the best damn podcast, Culture Pop Radio.
Hey, what up, guys? It's Julia Van Speaker, and who we got on the show today?
Raina Simone, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you know what? At first, initially, I thought you were just a producer, but then I started listening to your music. Obviously, you're a rapper and a singer, and you're a good singer.
Oh, thank you. I try a little bit.
I was a little shocked because I'm like, usually it's not like a good translation. You know what I mean? Some rappers will do like the little Drake, little auto-tune effects to try to bring their tone and their vocals.
Well, shout out to my engineer too. Shout out to Matt. Shout out to Matt.
Are you fronting over here?
You know, I do a little. I try to keep a note of every once in a while, a little melody. But shout out to Matt too.
I feel it because I hear a little bit of soul in there. I was like, okay, because I like what you were doing because it feels like you did all. I'm hoping that you did. I'm not wrong, but you did all the work on all your songs that you just released. Those 3 singles for this year. Okay, bet. Because it sounds really good.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And you remind me if Kendrick Lamar and Rhapsody had a baby, this would be the end result.
That's huge. I appreciate that.
No, seriously, because at first I was like, oh no, she sounds a little bit like Rhapsody. But I'm like, nah, I'm hearing a little bit of Kendrick in there. Okay.
Those are great comparisons, so thank you. Shout out to Kendrick and Rhapsody as well.
Absolutely. So how did you get your start?
Absolutely. So I started as a classically trained pianist.
Right.
And so, my parents were always very, very adamant on being skillful. That was very, very important to them, skill and education. And as a black woman in America, of course, sometimes you need extra things just to make sure that you're always going to be okay and you're always going to be set. And so that was one of their ideologies. And so I was a classically trained musician, played the piano, was very, very into the piano. But, classical music wasn't really my thing. And then over time, I got really, really into rap and hip-hop music. And I was just trying to figure out, I think, how it was that I could figure out my contribution to the world. I've always felt like I had a responsibility to my people in particular. And I realized that I could, say a lot through words. And especially if I could combine the two, music, which I love as a classically trained musician, and, words on top of that, just being able to speak my mind and put everything I hear in my head into the real world.
Right.
So that's really where it started.
Wow. So, what artists in particular, outside of being classically trained? Because if you're classically trained, I feel like you could really definitely get, that inspiration there. Because if, being able to read music, sheet music, that's hard. I tried once, and I said, no, I'm good. It's
like
a whole different
language. A whole different language.
So what artists inspired you, not just for singing, but rapping and production? Most
definitely. I am a huge fan of Miles Davis, first and foremost, in terms of production and just sound. Pre 2008 Kanye West,
right, okay.
huge fan. J. Cole and Jay-Z definitely are people who've influenced me tremendously. And Big Pun. I can't forget that either.
Big Pun.
Can't forget that one.
That's a good one. So what about him actually inspired you? I mean, he's a good lyricist. Don't get me wrong. If you really listen to Big Pun, you'll see that. But what about him inspired you? Because that one threw me off. I don't hear that a lot.
You know what? And Big Pun always gets lost in translation for some reason. But his flow is so different. I don't think we've heard a flow like Big Pun's yet.
You're right.
I don't think so yet.
I feel like his son comes a little close.
Shout out to Elijah Rivers.
Chris Rivers.
Shout out to Chris Rivers. Absolutely.
Wow. That's so interesting. Okay. So let's talk about your latest singles that you obviously just dropped, Forevermore. Let's start there.
Absolutely.
How did you start creatively with that?
You know what? I wanted to create a track that gave me an old school vibe, but was still a little new age. And so I was just going through samples. And I heard this piano track that I really, really loved with this vocal sample. And I tried to recreate it. And that's how that happened with the beat. And so I ended up just spitting some rhymes over it. But I'll say one of the singles that I'm really, really passionate about right now is Rollin', though. That one I'm super, super passionate about. Rollin' is out now on all platforms. But Rollin', I started, again, I just wanted to figure out how I could bring an old age sound to new school. So that's where that comes from. You'll hear a lot of acoustic basses instead of 808s and a lot of the recent stuff. Things like that.
Wow. And you get a little bit political. You don't get too crazy with it. Because at first I was expecting a little bit more of a political stance there. But the way that your cadence and how you word things, it's not that it's hard to miss, but it's there enough so it's not like, how some people go, oh my God, I don't want to hear a lyrical rapper. Because most people don't. You want to hear nonsense at the end of the day. But you touch in such a way that I don't even know how to describe it. So
I appreciate that.
How are you able to intertwine so many important subjects in your music and be able to present it in a way you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean?
You know what? I think naturally it's just my natural flow of consciousness. And so when I speak and when I'm rapping, I want people to know exactly what's on my mind and what's in my head. I always have a lot to say and I always like it to be heard. So I'm really just speaking, but those are the thoughts that are always on my mind. Sometimes it is political thoughts and sometimes it isn't.
Right.
So I'm quite literally, just saying the things that are on my mind. And oftentimes, given that I am a black woman in America, my stance is very much so political because my existence is political. So that's something that you'll naturally hear throughout the music. But of course, there's more to be spoken about as well. So I try to touch on all of those things.
And it's not overwhelming, and I think that's the most important part, because I feel like you could still get your point across without people trying to walk away from the music and they still learn something. Or if you're somebody that just kind of bypasses, you're like, oh, and you just keep rapping and you don't even know, it's there.
Right. And
it's
I
like subliminal.
that. Most definitely. I think also, I just realized that I think a lot of quote unquote conscious music is word choice is very, very important, and I'm very big on communication. And I want to make sure that everyone who's listening to my music can understand what I'm saying. And so I also try to say things and deliver things in a way where people can actually understand it. I don't need to use the biggest words or, the most outlandish terminology to describe the point I'm trying to make. I want everyone to be able to understand it. I think often within our community, too, one of the problems that we have is that there's such a difference in terms of socioeconomic statuses and access that comes with that, and some of us have access to higher education, some of us don't. But there's a way that you can say things so that we're all understanding and listening, and only when that is achieved are we going to be able to successfully make an impact. So that's very very important to me as well.
And it's like you speak your own language, but it's a language that everybody can understand, and I like that.
Hopefully, thank you.
I like it. And I know in a previous interview you pointed out something very, very important. I think you mentioned either Chief Keith or Kodak Black, where you said you guys are really saying the same thing, you're just saying it differently.
And I think that's very, very true as well. A trap rapper might get on a record and talk about, oh, I'm killing a nigga. Okay, but what are the institutional forces that are leading one to be in a position where they need to do that?
I like that sample that you did too, by the way, in one of your songs. I believe it was Subway Surfers at the beginning of the song.
Oh, you did your
with
research,
yeah, with the bread. He was like, "I'm hungry, I need the bread." I like how you opened up like that.
Thank
I was like, "Oh shit, okay."
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of capitalism, but it does what it does for us.
Unfortunately. So let's talk about what hip hop actually means to you and going forward, and how you're going to make an impact on hip hop, because I feel like you definitely can.
Thank you.
I'm just waiting for you to do it.
It's coming. It's coming. We got a new record coming September 10th called The System. But hip hop is just a very, very powerful tool. As I said again, it's a means of communication for us, and it always has been. And I think we've sort of seen the way in which the commercialization of hip hop and hip hop taking ownership under other entities has shifted some of the focus. But at the end of the day, hip hop is still the niche that we have to be able to speak our experiences and to make sure that we're connecting and people hear us. So hip hop is way deeper than music to me. It really is a form of communication and a lifestyle, and something that I commit myself to.
Absolutely. So you've worked with artists on production wise, like Little TJ. How is that? How is that with you being, I guess you guys being a little bit different, but how is like being able to get in the studio with those types of guys?
You know what? I actually haven't worked with Little TJ, but I would love to.
Okay.
But yeah, I have worked with a lot of up and coming artists right now, and it's always a great experience just getting in the studio and different sounds, and everyone has their own sound, and so that's a beautiful thing to be able to go in and mesh your sound with another artist's sound. I have, no artist is like another, so I won't say like TJ, but I've worked with people with similar sounds to Lil TJ, and again, that's a great experience. I think that I can really make any sort of beat. I'm an eclectic producer, so we can always get in there and come out with a hit. But it's always great to put minds together and come up with different sounds. And I don't think hip hop is so diverse that you can get in there and do anything. And as long as it's speaking from your own narrative, as long as it's your voice and you're talking about something you care about, it's hip hop music. You know what I mean? And so we can always get in there and make a hit.
Absolutely.
Always.
So are you planning on dropping an album or a full-on EP, or just continue to drop the singles?
So right now I'm continuing to drop singles, but I am working on a project, and so I'm really looking forward to dropping an album before the end of this year.
Okay, awesome. How many tracks are we? How many tracks are we gonna expect?
Definitely upwards of 15. We've been putting a lot of work in.
Oh, so yeah, I was about to say you definitely working. There's gonna be plenty of music there.
Yeah, I'm really really excited about this project. I'm titling it Old Soul New Conscious, and this is pretty much the project I've been working on. It sounds drastic but for the entirety of my life, for the most part, it's gonna be my first project, so it's very representative of my craft in its entirety, and I'm super super excited for people to hear that.
Absolutely. So what type of mark are you planning to leave on this earth? with music?
Oh, that's a deep question.
Yeah, because I was waiting for it. I was like, we gonna get
on
there.
this earth, not in hip hop on this earth.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think that sometimes when you think about the impact that you want to make, you can cloud your vision. So really, I just think about purpose and what my purpose is, and I think that a purpose of mine, at least one of them, is to be able to make an impact. And so I don't necessarily know what that impact is going to look like yet, but I definitely know that, you know, the steps that I'm taking to make sure that an impact is made. So hopefully you will be able to tell me that in about 5 to 10 years.
Hopefully. And you'll be right back and we're going to talk about it. So
there
the impact that you've made.
There we go. I love it. I love it.
So this is my favorite part of the show. It's called 5 Fast Facts. You got to drop 5 facts about yourself real quick.
All right, let's
start now.
Oh, just like that?
Yeah, just
no
like
questions?
that.
All right. 5 facts. Let's see. I love J. Cole.
Okay.
If I was not doing music, I would probably be doing law or policy.
Okay.
I love horses.
Okay.
I'm very family oriented. And I always ride for my team.
Okay. She said, I'm a ride or die. What's El Champo's wife's name? If anybody remembers.
Uh-oh.
I'm joking. No, I'm not. But she was a ride or die.
Uh-oh. See, but why don't we remember her name? Why we know El Chapo's name and not her name?
Even know.
That's not even cool. We should know her name, too. Because she held it down. We should know her name.
For real.
We should know her name.
Like 25 to life or something? I'm joking. Okay.
Hold on.
Well, Raina, thank you
Listen,
so much.
I'll ride. I don't know about the die part. I don't know if I could do 25 to life. Listen.
It comes with the price tag.
Sometimes. Unless you know how to get around it.
Oh, okay. I hear that. Well, Raina, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Julie Vamps.
Appreciate you.
Raina. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Jen.